listeners to Liss'N Kristi. I'm Liss.
Kristi.
With the Liss'N Kristi podcast. And if you're here with us, we've got some exciting things to share today.
We do. It's a catch-up episode, Do Our Laundry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you got?
Well, I was just talking to Reagan, the super producer, and she just showed me that the Liss'N Kristi podcast Facebook page, it's a private group. If anybody wants to join, they're welcome to. Has almost 400 members.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
I have no idea. Obviously, I wasn't checking it after I set it up.
Yeah, she's like, you guys need to go on there and do a live and talk to your people.
And I
She's
said,
like,
we
they're
don't
so
have any
supportive.
fans. And she goes, you have 400. I was like, oh my gosh, where were they 2 days ago when I was feeling depressed?
But we've already gotten really good feedback from,
Yes.
finding out what number 51 in Canadian comedy podcasts and
Yeah.
31 in the United States. And didn't know
And
it
we've been
happened.
doing this a month. Is it our month? It's our month anniversary.
Yeah, something like that. It happened kind of fast.
It did. Life's what happens when you're making plans.
Yeah. And what's the other thing you say? Something about an education.
Oh, my father used to say, an education is what you get when you didn't get what you wanted.
When you didn't get what you paid for?
You didn't get what you wanted. In other words, you went in with one aspect, how things were going to be, and it was all roses and perfume and chocolate, and then things took a turn, and that's when you get your education.
Right. But I feel like we've had a little bit of feedback from listeners and viewers asking for kind of an up close or more personal look at different aspects of life, where we have kind of been delivering everybody's
That's true.
message.
We've gotten feedback from people that, can you tell us what color lipstick that is? Can you do a makeup tutorial? Can you, where are you going to go on your next vacation? I had somebody ask that the other day. What kind of car do you drive? Just we've gotten the gamut of.
What should I get my wife for her birthday?
Yeah. You definitely don't want me budgeting that. But I'm really excited because we've gotten lots of great feedback and all the other ideas of the things that we want to do to, interact, and we're having fun with this.
Engage with the fans, or not even, people who've been friends or family or whatever, people who've been cheerleading us either individually or since this podcast launched, saying, you know what, I'm really proud of you, way to go after it, or, especially you saying, hey, you know what, I'm not going to let these strokes keep me down, or the fact that my heart stopped beating, big deal.
Yeah, big deal. We didn't need that heart anyway. It was my cardiologist this week was like, I've been listening to you guys. So I was like, isn't that funny? When you scream at a man all those years and you're just like, listen to me, listen. And they look at you like this. All you have to do is just get a microphone. I used to say in my house, all I had to do to get anybody's attention was bring out a tube of mascara. When I started putting on mascara, every child within a 5-mile needed me to find something, and I only had one. Can you help me find that sock, that shoe, that book? Have you seen this? Have you seen the dog? Have you seen just the mascara wand? And then everybody would come in my bathroom.
Well, I feel like since, the last episode that we filmed, we've had a couple opportunities to do a little, some photo shoots. Mm-hmm. And Isaiah has agreed to be our maiden
Crash test dummy?
Yeah, you could say that. Crash test dummy, or the maiden voyage segment we hope to call the Liss'N Kristi Love Segment. Mm-hmm. And I think we've touched on this a little bit on previous episodes, but you have a very successful past and what might consider a chargeable profession. Yeah,
right.
Service.
Right. And I still can't. People said, you should charge for that. And I'm like, can't you go to prison for...
Well, I don't know. Nobody's called you a madam.
No, that's true. That's true. But I fixed up 15 couples that have gotten married.
Yeah. And it just, I've watched it repeatedly. People reach out to you. Your phone will light up literally any time of the day or night. Sometimes it's 3 a.m. Sometimes it's 1 p.m. But anybody who has recently found themselves to be single or a long time standing single person seems to think that you have just the right person in your Rolodex that they need to be meeting.
And it's funny. It's a game that I play, and I constantly, when I meet people and I find out that they are unhitched, I'm like, do you want to be fixed up? And they always kind of look at me crazy that first time. And there was a friend of Shanna's recently that I found out he was single. And keep in mind, I've never met this man. So he knows my name through Shanna. And I said, I understand that you're single. And he's like, yeah. And I said, well, I just like to know who's single and who's not. And I know we've never met, so you think I'm crazy. I said, but I always try to keep a little envelope of people in my mind that I'm like, they may like to meet them if they don't know them. And basically that's all it is. There's nothing else to it. And so I kept trying to fix him up. So I had the opportunity to fix him up with somebody else I thought he'd work with this week. And he said, you're going to be so happy for me. I think I've met the one. And he's sent me pictures. I said, wait, I didn't get to fix you up.
Oh, so he met the one without your help.
Yeah, without my help. And we still haven't met yet. He goes, I just can't wait to meet you.
But you're going to be so proud of me.
Because most people would have a restraining order against me by now. But he's like, I'm not going to let this one get away. And I was like, so he sent me pictures. And I said, I approve. But isn't that at the end of the day, and then what everybody wants is to have an adventure while finding love.
Yes. But I think that that's what you do so well, and what you convey to people when you start this fairy tale matchmaking service for them is you truly do become invested in, like, hey, who is this person? What do I think they'd like, or what they'd get along with, or their stage of their life is at this point. What are they looking for to marry? And you're such a good investigator of people that it does become a service that I think some people don't even have the skill set to invest in themselves when they go to look for a partner or a mate.
Well, they may cut themselves short. They may not see all the great qualities that they possess. And, look, we never think we're as funny as we really are. We never think that, I don't know, whatever you're insecure about, or you may have a shortcoming about, that we probably never consider ourselves to be in the forefront in some of our qualities. And
whereas you're going to sell each individual that you're matchmaking as a 10 to whoever they're meeting, because it's like the Patty Sanger, right?
Right.
What does she charge for matchmaking?
Well, I think it varies, but she goes up to $250,000 a year.
So you are going to get that same service from Kristi Schiller, who has all the same qualities and same access to the Rolodex.
I wonder how many people she's actually fixed up that have married, though. They never talk about her stats.
That's true. Yeah, if you work for Patty and you have her stats, we'd like to know.
Yeah, we'd like to have you on.
Do a little
But
recon.
I understand that they're bringing her show back.
Because everybody's desperate to find love.
So we think that we're on to something here. We're ironing out all the details. But I'm really excited to be able to semi-commercialize this idea, because I just
and I think that's
want
also
everybody to find happiness.
what we're looking for is, so if you've been listening or you've just found us, and you like the idea of maybe access to a matchmaking service and something that's unconventional but along the lines of happiness, which everybody wants, we want feedback. What do you think, like, a really great strategy to how this would look? We have, a rough idea in mind, but we are looking for feedback. If you were looking for love at whatever stage in your life you're in, something that's different than Tinder or going on to Match.com, or what would it feel like
People
to you?
that want more out of it than, I don't really know how a Tinder works, but
I think it's just like, is it hot or not? And is it within a 5-mile radius? Like, how far do I have to drive for it? I think that's very different than...
if you don't want to swipe, is it swipe right or left?
If you don't want a swipe experience, come see Kristi.
Yeah. I mean, you have a real, a real Jewish mother experience. Yeah, you didn't want to swipe.
But send some feedback to us at estrogen at liss'nkristi.com, and just go along the train of the thought train with us and let us know. We've got some dating questions and, obviously the love language questionnaire, and trying to zero in on what makes somebody tick the way they tick and how they'd find the next love of their life, or the only love of their life.
Have you ever been fixed up on a blind date?
Yes, I was once.
And
And it did not go so well for me. but there was not a lot of there wasn't your quality matchmaking skills gone into what transpired for me.
I can still remember 3 that, I've called afterwards and said, hey, I didn't hear from you. How's it going? It's the date's still going on. It's day 3. I'm like, okay, guess it's good then. And those people ended up getting married. And, you just look at something like that and you remember the excitement of writing out the initial parts of that relationship with them, or when they had their wedding reception and being there and giving a speech and knowing that you had a little something to do with all the people in the room.
I've been sitting there next to you when that 3-way text thread all of a sudden goes quiet, and then you realize they're off together texting on their own, and you've been left in the dust.
You've been left. You've been left. But that you just, so exciting that you're there from their ride from the beginning. And you get addicted to because I was trying to fix up a friend of mine about a year ago. And you said, who do I know?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
I love it.
And when they hit it off, you were like, this is so addictive.
I'm invested.
Right.
I'm still invested.
Right.
I'm like, how have you all not met in person yet?
Right. It releases this, I'm safe to say, like a serotonin that.
Endorphins or something. Yeah, it's almost like a little segue of falling in love with yourself, of getting to witness somebody else like this. Okay, this is the moment, or getting to check in.
Fix.
Yeah,
and you're coaching both of these people from kind of behind the scenes. You invest in it, and it's exciting. It gives you a thrill.
No, I couldn't think of anybody to be better fixed up by. I think that's why people come to you for love.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they come to me for love, or I'm just the most outspoken person about it. But I just get so excited to think about that first date and what they're talking about and how they're moving forward. And then, I'm so invested. Then if things don't start to pan out, I kind of take it personally. Like, why did that not work? Because I can see what you need. Why did this not? What did you do wrong? I mean,
I even consider too, like, of all the nightmare dates that you'd save people from, because look, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say most of the people you're fixing up, you have enough of their life history in your Rolodex also to know, hey, they're batting 100. They have this in their tool belt. Is anybody
ever really batting? Well, it's batting 1,000, by the way, but is anybody ever really batting 1,000?
I hope so. But how many, I know how many awful first dates I've had. How many awful first dates have you had?
Well, I've been married my whole life, so not that many, but I can still remember one date that I had in New Orleans, and I was just, I don't want to go. I don't want to do this. And one of my other good friends is like, you have to get back out in there. You have to go on this date. He seems like such a lovely person. I went on the date and pardoned myself to go to the restroom before appetizers came and called my girlfriend and said, come get me.
What happened?
He just, I don't know. I can't even remember now. It was so long ago.
And you just left. No note, nothing.
I'm not advising that for anybody. So hopefully other people won't have to go through experiences like that. But I'm trying to think over the years if the brief times that I was single.
Wasn't there a story too about a date you were supposed to go on a night your cat caught on fire?
Oh my gosh, how could I forget this? So I can't remember. It wasn't a blind date. Maybe the guy had, I can't remember. But anyway, he comes over to my house, to my condo to pick me up. And I had these 2 white Persian cats. And I had taken them to get them groomed at the cat groomer. And I guess they put on some type of silicone stuff to make their hair not come out everywhere. Well, I had some candles lit around my apartment. So I opened the front door. He comes in the foyer, and I said, hey, I'm just going to be 5 more minutes, and then we'll go. So the cats immediately jump up to where he's sitting and kind of like shooing them off, or apparently because he says he's allergic. I don't know. I'm getting dressed. All I hear is this huge commotion. my cat comes flying past me and is in flames. The whole cat's on fire. Well, all you see is this firebomb. You can't, I mean, is my cat dying in front of me? Well, basically that, whatever that silicone or the hair oil that they put on, that's what was burning. So he flicked his tail past that and it was just flammable. So that was burning down, not the actual cat. I mean, I'm sure eventually it would have gotten to that point. But I remember he pulled off his jacket to like smother the cat. And he had like the biggest gun at his strap I've ever seen. I go, where are we going to dinner? And he goes, well, you never know. I want to make sure that we're safe. And I'm like, where are we going? I said, you know what? I just think I need to stay home with my cat.
So wait a second. He sacrifices his dinner jacket to
Yes.
to suffocate the fire, engulfing your Persian.
Yes.
And then you ditch him.
Stay home with the cat. But I'm trying to think if I've had any other, I don't know, I'm sure I have to think, but I'm sure there's some other ones that are less than forthcoming. You don't have any horror stories though, do you?
No. I mean, just this one. I mean, there's a few, but God, you just go down the road of thinking about how many horror stories you actually have, and then I guess there's more than I'd like to recount.
Because when you're in your 20s, you probably don't think that they're horror stories.
No, yeah, I guess that's probably a good way to.
Because maybe your acceptance to drama is just a little more
That's probably
tolerable.
fair. Yeah, I had not been on enough bad dates to realize
Exactly.
truly how bad
That's
it was.
what I mean. We don't have much to compare to at that age.
Yep. So yeah, I just think of all the struggle and strife that you could save people from.
Well,
Miserable first experiences.
if anybody's up for it, there's nothing I love more than fixing somebody up, because I think everybody should be as miserable as married people. I want everybody to get in that camp and appreciate
So
it.
if you watched the previous episode to this one, you got to watch Isaiah Mays, who is world-renowned photographer, one of Kristi's nearest and dearest best friends. Wonderful, who has been on the quest for love now for, a little over a year maybe. And he is ready to take the plunge and wants to do it the Kristi way.
And he's maybe the most normal of all my friends.
Hey.
Well, I mean, but as far as, he's so charming, so handsome, so funny.
Reagan said
I've
it
never
best.
seen him get mad. I've never seen him lose his temper.
He has a really wonderful, almost like a poetic way to deliver the beauty or the message behind things that he's trying to convey. He's so eloquent in the way he talks about things that you just kind of gravitate to wanting to be around him or listening to him storytell. And
He's wonderful.
so, yeah, if you're watching this and you're curious, who is this mystery man? Keep your eyes peeled. There should be some, keep checking the website, lissenkristi.com. We'll have some teasers on there and maybe a way to meet Isaiah yourself. And I think we should do some behind the scenes stuff, like, some maybe Q&As, like some inquisitive, if people are looking for beauty advice or relationship stuff, or
Right.
you just said there's another lady that you are friends with and she's a sex expert.
Do I have anybody that I know that's...
She's a relationship sex expert.
Oh, yes, she's coming on. Yes.
That's what I thought.
She is. So we'll I won't give too much off about that, but she's coming on. So we'll be very excited to get some feedback from her and, I don't know, kind of figure out what people are looking for out there and make some love happen.
The good kind.
The good kind. We're watching all these.
One of our new favorite shows.
Is Love on the Spectrum.
Yes, obsessed. And Reagan said something that I appreciate because after we watched it that first time, I was like, oh, wait, I do that. And I came in and I said to Reagan, I was like, so we're watching this show, Love on the Spectrum, and I realized I do all these things. She's like, you know what? I think we're all a little bit tistic. And I was like, oh, we are, aren't we? Like,
Neurospicy.
Yeah, I love it. But, it's the purest form of love. Two people who are so completely authentic. They're looking just for what makes them happy. And I think, our favorites, David and Abby, find it. and I would love to talk to them.
Anybody that hasn't watched that show, just, you know what, do yourself a favor and just binge watch that. That'll just put you in such a better place. It's almost like watching, I was telling somebody yesterday about Ted Lasso. That's like such a feel good. Yes, I know, right? Heart. Just love that show. That was what we didn't know we needed during the pandemic.
That's true.
Look, and don't send us a bunch of nudes. This isn't a place to, not that kind of fix up. Wholesome love. It's wholesome love. Yeah, I want to be restored, that there's some faith left in this world, that people want to find love in their forever after. We just want to help.
Exactly.
So nothing raunchy, nothing bad, just...
Well, and I think how many people we meet, too, that we're often think to ourselves, oh, my gosh, this person would love to know this. Not even in a romantic setting, but I think you and I both
Okay, so I can't say who the players are, but I do have to share the story. One of my dearest friends from New York.
Yes.
Okay, she has an annual birthday luncheon that is spectacular. And she has done a lot of high-profile celebrity divorces. And so as we arrive to her luncheon, this is maybe 3 years ago, I sit down with another lady at lunch, and we start visiting, and she just kind of took to me, and it was where I was supposed to sit down, and we're kind of in this, there's 40 women at this luncheon. And so we start visiting. And she said, well, I guess I can tell you who that part is, because it was Wendy Williams, the talk show host. And she goes, you got a man, you need to fix me up. Can you fix me? I was like, did somebody tell you about me? And she's like, what about? And I go, and that's kind of what I do.
I'm a professional.
Yeah, I just don't get paid. So I said, but you know what? Let me think for a second. So I got 3 people out of my Rolodex, and I start texting them there at the luncheon. And so I've got her visiting one. I've got another one warmed up, and I'm like, she's going to call you tonight. What number can she,
Oh, so she asks you and you deliver in the moment.
In the moment, yeah. And I said, we've got this guy that runs this company that she's familiar with. We've got this over here, and they're all very handsome, great
eligible bachelors.
Yeah. And she's like, I like that guy. And I said, you're really going to love him because he's got this dreamy voice. And actually, he was one of my first bosses when I was, 22, 23 years old. And he's who I answered to in my company. Well, the lady hosting the luncheon, which I know her kids, I know her husband, we've been friends for quite a few years. She says, what are you two over here? And she's walking around to the different tables. It's her birthday. And she says, what are you two all, laughing about, huddled up? And I said, well, Wendy says that she needs a man. She needs somebody, to fix it. So I said, I've got this handled. I've got her a date, and they're talking, and my old boss lives in California, but they've headed off, and I think they're going to fly to have dinner. I was pretty proud of myself. She takes one look at the picture, and I said, I've known him a long time. I said, he just kind of has a look that he looks familiar because he's very handsome. And she looks at me and she said, he and I ran off together when I was 18 years old. He was my first love.
The woman who's hosting the birthday party says this about the man you're trying to fix up with Wendy Williams.
We're in New York City. He's in California. I never even, if you'd asked me where he was born, I would have known. Surely couldn't have told you it was Long Island and that they were
high school sweethearts.
Yeah. I said, I have to go buy a Powerball ticket. I don't even know what that means, but what are the chances?
So had they stayed friends all those years?
Yes, I don't think that they talked a lot.
Yeah.
But all of us were completely shook to our cores. We could not believe it. And she's just like, what are the chances of this happening? And I said, I know, right? Well, Wendy kind of maybe wasn't at a place in her life where she was as open as she thought maybe to new relationships. But they did talk a while. I don't think that they ever actually met. But I could not believe it when
Now, would you have ever thought to put those two people together if they had both been single?
well, I just know her married to her husband,
Yeah.
so it's so hard to imagine her with anybody else because I absolutely adore her husband. But I was blown away. I still couldn't imagine how many people totally are on this earth. Like,
Reagan, let us know.
yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, the fact that they had been together, what? 7.9 billion.
oh well, okay, and change.
Right, but the fact that they had known and dated each other 40 some years.
Yeah,
I mean, if they were teenagers, right?
right, over 40 years ago. And I still have the picture of them as high school. And she said, I'm sending you this. And it showed them they were hand in hand. And she goes, that was the day we went to go get our marriage license.
I love that.
It just gives me chills. What are the chances?
Right. So, okay. So let's just double down to make it clear to everybody who's listening or watching that in no way, shape, or form are we fixing at people who can't do it on their own, but we're fixing at people who would like the luxury of knowing that somebody who's very well skilled in that area is doing it for them.
And remind me how we know this.
Because you've already done it successfully 15 times.
Oh,
Right?
okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty confident that we've got it going on. So again, hang out on the website, see what we have to send your way, send us some feedback to estrogen@lissenkristi.com and let us know the things you want to hear about, what you want us to talk about, guests that you'd like us to have on the show. And if you're interested in also being featured in the Love Matchmaking segment, send us a message. Well, and Kristi needs to thank a whole group of you.
I know, because I just realized we had 400 people in our Facebook
Like Liss'N
Cubby.
Kristi Facebook
Hell,
group.
why can't
Yeah,
I
like
think
we
of
have
words
some
today?
special group.
special group on Facebook, our Liss'N Kristi podcast. And thank
So
everybody.
all 400 of you, I don't know where you are, but you need to get onto YouTube because we need you to subscribe here.
Yes.
Yeah. So with that being said, say goodnight, Lucy.
Good night, Lucy.